Well, for the first time in my life, I'm actually sitting home at lunch just making a recording because I have decided that I am going to only work strictly on the schedule that I get paid for. So before I had been working a lot of extra hours. I'd get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'd stay logged in until 6 p.m. And I did a lot of extra things that just were not appreciated over the course of 3 years. And this morning I came into the office, I wrote down my schedule on the whiteboard, and I said, these are the hours that I'll be working. And of course, Gen Z looked over at it and he's like, that doesn't look like the hours of a person that has longevity. And so he started looking for other jobs. Like he got super paranoid this morning and he started applying for as many other positions as he could on Indeed. And what was really strange is that he started contemplating moving back home because he wasn't going to make it on what he currently makes. And he's come to the conclusion that his minimum wage job was never designed to have him living in his own apartment without having to dip into savings every single month until he goes somewhere where he can actually afford to, instead of being in the negative every month, being in the positive, which is never going to happen for anyone in the sub $20 range that wishes to remain, how do I put this? Remain independent, right? You want to remain independent of roommates, independent of family. You want to be able to make your own way. But we live in a society where that's just not feasible. In fact, making your own way is a certain way of ending up in financial disaster, which apparently he recognizes it. And for me, once you feel like something bad's going to happen to you in the workplace, you start your stomach, your dreams, everything about your body starts to tell you that, things aren't good here. In fact, I was telling my friend Rachel this morning, who lives in New York, because she texted me this morning and she's like, Millennial Steam, are you still employed? And I said, barely. And she said to me, I think that you really need to start considering leaving that toxic work environment. And then I told her about everything that had happened last week because she was very concerned for my well being the last time that I talked to her. And again, I don't know her in real life. I just met her at work, and she's one of those people that can feel the the change in the atmosphere at this company from getting new management till today. There's been a lot of very, very aggressive moves towards the employees. And when the corporation moves this aggressively to cut 15% of its workforce, and that 15% doesn't even make the news, I say this all the time. It's like, how many other evil corps are currently in the process of streamlining their corporations in order to generate more revenue? So we talked back and forth for most of the morning, and then she went off to lunch, and I went off to lunch because uh, the stipulation was if she moved out of the home state where she got hired and she moved all the way across the country, the only way that she could keep her job is by continuing to work the hours at which she was hired, which can be very complicated for people who move 4+ time zones away. In fact, there are people that are currently working on the other side of the planet for this company that are required to be logged into their work computers from 8 to 5 when there's an 8-hour time difference. So that means that you're working really, really strange hours, and that's how they either get you to stay or go. We've also had some employees that they had the return to work mandate, and of course, during the pandemic where you weren't attached to a major city, a lot of people decided that they were going to move into much smaller communities in order to keep their large paychecks from the city, but live simple lives in the middle of nowhere. Those people regret their decision as soon as someone at the corporate office decides that there's a return to work mandate and you either return or you no longer work there. But in my situation, I'm looking at it like Gen Zero realizes that there's something terribly wrong at work. And I mean, it's just Like, he's a person that's, he's autistic, and he senses it. He senses danger the same way that a wild animal senses danger, right? We've all seen these videos of an animal that's completely unaware that someone's sneaking up to it to take it out, right? The lone gunman sitting beyond your visibility, right? You look out on the horizon and you can't see what's going on. You just know that something's not right out there. That's how workers feel right now in America, is that there's something not right out there. And you're scanning the horizon looking for what it is. You take a whiff on the air and it's blowing upwind, so you're not getting that downwind smell of what potentially is going to get you. But we all know who's out there, and that's Fleece. And he's waiting, and patiently waiting for the right moment to strike, grab you by the hips, and take you. And that's what we're all afraid of. And that's why I talk about job security and it not being available to the general proletariat, because it's hard to have job security when you know he's out there waiting to drop the hammer on you at any second. In fact, this morning I got a call while I was out at the reception desk from my boss, who said, I need to talk to you. And I was just like, oh, well, here it comes. There's nothing more frightening than that call. Do you have a minute? You need to answer the phone. Or like, you're kind of like, you know what? I have a regular job. Like, it's not like I'm tied to this exact desk all day long. It's just like you've got to, I can't make myself available at the drop of of the ball, just so that you can satisfy whatever you need to. And it's one of a few things. He realized how many weeks I'm going to be off. I only have 4 days left before I'm off for 3 weeks in a row, which has never happened. And then there's the situation where you're also dealing with the multifaceted problems. Like this morning, I had so many problems that came up this morning that all required a high level of detail, attention, and understanding that is almost impossible to teach to another person. So they're probably going to call me to ask and see. It's like, well, if your job isn't stable, then Gen Z's job isn't stable, because in the occurrence that you're not there, Gen Z is just going to sit on his hands and wait till you come back, because he's has very, very limited understanding of the workplace. And that was intentional, because this job was supposed to be for a part-time intern that worked for the minimum wage. Somehow they couldn't find that person to work here, and we ended up getting someone slightly higher, but not much higher. And that puts that position in danger, because it's completely dependent on the position above it, which, again, the hierarchy of Evil Corp is usually just one person. And it's a domino effect sometimes, that when that you remove that the leverage there, it causes the other places to kind of start floundering. And then if not rectified soon enough, and I use the word rectified in the most bold way here, then you're going to have a collapse that just causes everyone to become destabilized. And I believe this is one of those moments. They've never seen a person in this position be removed for an extended period of time. It just can't function correctly. And I believe that's the fear that they have, is they looked at the vacation calendar and they're like, oh my God, this guy here, he's gone for 2 to 3 days during Thanksgiving. This guy here is gone for a couple days after. This guy here is gone the week before, but this guy looks like he's going to be gone all this time. Who's going to jump in and start doing the heavy lifting? The answer is no one, and therefore you've got to have a conversation about what this is going to look like. So I am not looking forward to that conversation, whatever it looks like. I mean, I hope it's not the conversation in which they just tell me, just don't come back, because right now, financially, I couldn't afford that conversation, but it's a potential. It's within the realm of possibility that that could be the conversation that I have today. But it's been that way now for 3 weeks, 3 solid weeks. I've been on pins and needles wondering what was going to happen to me. And frankly, it's just getting to the point where it's unnerving. Anyhow, this is today's lunchtime video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be rendering the video once I get home from Evil Corp. I'm planning on going to the gym afterwards, and I'll come home and look and see how the views are. If it's necessary, I'll throw this up this evening. If not, I'll throw it in tomorrow at 8 a.m. It all depends on how the video that's going up in a couple of hours, the 20-minute video, is going to do.